Okay, here's P6, short little lesson. Distance formula and midpoint formula. I'm just going to show you a couple quick little examples, just the basics of how do you use each one. There's more that we could do with them. It's just right now, in time we might get back to these little formulas, but not at the moment. I'm going to plot these 2 points. Here's 3. Call this point. I'll do B first. 1, 2, 3. There's point B. 2 to the left and 1 up. There's point A. All right, so what these formulas will get us is what is the distance in between them, and then where's the location of the point that's exactly halfway in between them. We'll start with distance. Now, I always like to write this in to kind of show you how this formula works. If I drew in kind of 2/3 of a right triangle, I would see that this side is 5 and that side is 3. And then you could take the approach that if you wanted that distance, you could use the Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, that's more or less, well, that's pretty much exactly what the distance formula does. If I take the difference in the y coordinates, okay, it doesn't matter which point you say is 2 or 1, you just need to be consistent. I'll say that B is point number 2. Okay, so y2 minus y1, this would be 4 minus 1. You do the exact same thing for the x's, and this would be 3. I have to give myself a little bit more room. Three minus -2. And look what shows up here. Whoops. Getting ahead of myself. The 5 and the 3 do eventually show up. The 3 is right here. And then here's the 5, right? No coincidence there at all. That is where that 5 came from. That's where that 3 came from, okay? Not like essential to use the distance formula that you have to make that connection to the Pythagorean theorem, but I think it's a good one to see, that it's like this formula isn't just kind of like weird, random, made-up stuff. It fits and is consistent with other stuff you've seen. All right, so it'd be like the square root of 34 as an exact answer if you wanted to give an approximation. Little over 5.8 is how far those points are apart. Didn't mean to do that. All right. I meant to scroll down, not right over my work. Okay, just to give myself a little bit of room for the midpoint, okay? Now, big difference here with the midpoint is to understand that in the part before with the distance formula, we found a number answer because it's a distance. That number tells us how far apart those 2 points are. We don't have any units with it because the problem didn't give us any, but it doesn't matter. The calculation would be the same whether that grid is representing inches or miles, right? If it was a map or something like that. The midpoint is a location. So here, we basically average the x coordinates, and then we average the y coordinates. But you got to remember here, our answer is a point, right? Because it's going to describe a location. That simplifies to 1/2. That simplifies to 5/2. So, 1/2 over and then 2.5 up. Roughly speaking, that's where you would find the point M. And yeah, 1/2, 2.5. It looks like it's halfway in between. Okay, that's all for P6. Short, quick little lesson, but there's what you need for now in the distance formula and the midpoint formula.